It's kind of like asking you if you have a favorite child. There's maybe
Everybody has a favorite child.
Everyone has a favorite child, but you usually don't say it out loud. If you take a man and you put him on a horse, he becomes a warrior. And if you ride a polo pony, you'll know what that means. You're going to have at least 3 horses, because one horse can only play 2 periods at most. But at a very high level, you're actually going to be bringing 8, 10, 12 horses to the field per player. We all know about the Crusades, but we don't learn when we go to school in America that the only reason the Crusaders were able to fight was because they had contracts to be getting 5,000 horses from the Armenians per year.
Okay, well, I think you got me on that one. I think Boston might have one cooler thing than Sacramento, because in Sacramento... Welcome to the Keyconceptspodcast. Today we're stepping into the world that many people have heard about, but very few understand. It's the world of polo. Behind the horses, the mallets, and the fields, there's something much deeper. Discipline, community, humility, and growth. Today, my special guest is Mark Tasjan. He is the CEO and founder of the Boston Polo Club. Mark, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. What is polo?
The way I describe it is like hockey on horses. And it was a sport. It's actually the oldest team sport in the world. It was invented by the Persians as a way of training their cavalry back in the day. But it's developed over the years just into this incredible sport with a long history. And modern days is most similar to our type of hockey, but instead of being on ice skates, you're on a horse trying to control another animal.
How do you actually play the sport?
Yeah, the basic concept is it's 4-on-4, and you are trying to hit a ball into a goal. So you're playing against the other team. You're able to steal the ball from the other team. It's played traditionally with 6 periods, but there are other versions where it'll be shorter or longer games based on the level. And you're going to have at least 3 horses, but at a very high level, you're actually going to be bringing 8, 10, 12 horses to the field per player. There really is this whole entire organization. You've got the trainers for the players. You've got the trainers for the horses. You've got the physical therapists for the players, physical therapists for the horses. The players and the horses need to work together. So it's really this very unique sport that you don't really see anymore, of humans having to interact with nature, with horses, to be able to accomplish this goal.
How old is the game of polo, and what general time frame was it actually created?
There's at least records dating back to 600 BC. So it's a very old game. There's polo fields in India and in Persia, which again are dating back to the BCs. In Isfahan, there's a field which is something like several hundred BC it dates back to. And so the game today is very similar to the game back then. We have composite mallets and equipment we're using. We're not using the same exact kind of material stuff, but the field is actually based on a polo field in India, but all of the original polo fields were roughly the same size goals, very similar rules.
Is there any additional cool things about the history or horses and stuff like that to know about?
Horses were like the aircraft of the day. They were the top of the line type of military vehicles. We all know about the Crusades, but we don't learn when we go to school in America that the only reason the Crusaders were able to fight was because they had contracts to be getting 5,000 horses from the Armenians per year. And those were the top horses that they would use. And those same horses were playing polo. John I of Silesian Armenia was one of the top polo players, and he provided 5,000 horses to the Crusaders. And I guarantee you they're the exact same horses that they were playing. So those horses, when you think about the Crusades, were polo ponies playing the game.
Mm-hmm. But how did you get into polo in general?
I wanted to go to school for economics. My dream was just to get a job in finance and work in New York City. And I did that. I had that finance job. It was as boring as everyone knows finance is. And so by the grace of God, I got laid off in 2008. And I started working at different polo clubs and just had some incredible opportunities managing some of the coolest different types of polo organizations around the world. And before returning to Boston to start this polo club with the vision of just seeing an opportunity to make it more accessible to people, to give people the opportunity to play this sport, and again, put people in touch with nature. Because like you said, here in Sacramento, like in most places in the world, people are so removed from their roots. And most of human history, we all would have been riding horses, not riding cars.
What would you say your favorite part of polo is?
So for polo, you need to have total trust in the horses, and they need to have total trust in you as well. So building up that kind of relationship And just working together is really a unique, amazing experience to have. And it's something that from the very first lesson, someone will start to see that kind of a relationship. I taught someone today for the very first time how to ride a horse. It was they rode it like once or twice when they were a kid or something like that. And it was this dream. They're an older man. He's 2 years away from retirement. He comes out to ride, and it's like right away, like his eyes open. He's able to see that he can get this animal that's 1,000-pound animal to listen to him, and he needs to listen to that 1,000-pound animal as well when it's telling him things.
You probably had a favorite horse. Did you have one? What was his name?
It's kind of like asking you if you have a favorite child. Everybody
has a favorite child.
Everyone has a favorite child, but you usually don't say it out loud. But yeah, there was that horse that was like the go-to when you're down by 2 goals and you need to win this tournament to win the championship, and you need to pull a horse out of the line to go score those 2 goals to win. Like, that's the horse that I would grab.
If your horses could collectively say something to you, what do you think they would say?
They would just thank me probably for the level of care and attention, because they know how much I sacrificed in my life to be able to give them the life that they had.
It's work. I mean, taking care of children in general, but in this case, horses, animals, it's work. Plainly, like, what is the mission of the Boston Polo Club?
Yeah, so the mission is really just giving people the opportunity to play polo and to go from having no experience riding a horse to being national championship level material.
What inspired you to do polo?
I saw the opportunity. There's all these people that do want to play polo, and it can be done in a more accessible way. And I also see all of these kinds of benefits to people, benefits to horses, really therapeutic benefits. I mean, seeing someone who has no experience riding a horse, and then after their first lesson, like their eyes opening up and seeing what they're able to do is such a unique experience that's part of what feeds my passion for it.
Did you run into any challenges those early days when you're like, oh, never created a club before like this?
The biggest challenge is that you're going against the grain of something that's a very entrenched type of a sport. And so that was the biggest challenge early on. The second biggest challenge is just letting people know that they can play it.
Horses require a lot of space. So where was that first location?
I started with just a couple of horses and just grew it very organically in the beginning, and started by just renting different facilities, and just every 2 years outgrowing that facility, needing to rent a larger one, outgrowing that one. And then eventually I bought a facility. And so that was the general process. And it does take a long time because it's a really unique type of a property you're trying to find. So try to find one to buy in any geographic area. Take some time. It makes more sense just to rent in the beginning.
Let's say someone wants to get into the sport of polo. Do they need to buy a horse to start?
You don't need your own horse. It really is much easier to get into than you would think. We've taught thousands and thousands of people to play polo, literally thousands. And out of it, most of them didn't own their own horse. Most of them had no or very minimal riding experience when they started. I've had kids start that are like as young as 4 or 5. And I've had people who are in their 70s start learning polo.
What do you think you did differently to make it so successful and get that rapid growth that other polo clubs just didn't have?
Making it simple. To get into the sport, normally in most places, it's going to be a very complicated, expensive process. But to be able to use those economies of scale and group people together to make this per person less expensive and more efficient. And so that's what makes it so that you can have people who just come out every now and then and play, and they don't need to own the horse, and they can come and show up and hop on this horse that other people are riding that's a really good horse. So that's really one of the big things. And then also running it like a business and really running it very efficient and having a heart to be able to do this as well as a big thing.
How would the Boston Polo Club that you created rank?
So we started a number of intercollegiate teams and a number of high school teams as well. One of our collegiate teams within 3 years won the collegiate national championship. The high school team within 6 years competed in the national championship. So like very high ranking when it comes to that. But we also had different lower levels as well. So I don't expect everybody to show up and become national championship level. You don't have to. But if that's what you want to do and commit to it, like any other sport, we will get you there. Really, we have something for everyone, whether you want to be that top competitor or just someone who's casual having fun.
If I buy a training session, what is that day actually going to look like for me?
So first, it's going to be just acclimating yourself to the horse, how to behave around the horse, how to just lead the horse around on the ground, just like a dog. They're going to follow you, but every now and then they're going to want to do their own thing. So how to do some of the basic controls. And just, to me, a big part of it is just learning the horsemanship, that piece of the ground manners, things like that. And then eventually we'll get you on the horse and we'll teach you the basics of riding. And believe it or not, it's, like I said, it's so much easier than you actually think. You think that it's this crazy animal, and you maybe have seen a movie of horses running around all crazy. These are the best trained athletes in the world. They really are.
What is the thing that surprises new players the most?
The number one thing is just how relaxed and obedient the horses are. Like, the horses know their job. And actually, they know it to the point where if you hit the ball forward, the horse will walk forward up to the ball and they will tee itself up for you to hit the ball again. They know it that well. They're literally going to go right to the point. Even if you don't know how to tee the ball up, the horse does, because it's played so much polo. And so that's the number one thing, just how mellow the horses are, how safe they are, how the horses are going to teach you almost as much of the game as I am. And then the other thing is just how it was something that they really thought they might do once, and it was just going to be like a bucket list kind of thing. But after doing it once, they realized, wow, I actually could do this. This is something that I really love doing.
What are the common mistakes that new polo players make?
I thought after playing polo for a year that I knew how to play the sport. At 3 years, I thought that I could be really good at the sport. At 5 years, I realized I didn't know anything about the sport. So it's something that actually takes a really long time to learn. It takes a short time to learn enough to do the basics, but to really know the ins and outs of the sport and the horses, it takes a very long time.
To truly succeed in polo, what qualities does that person need to have?
You could be the best person when it comes to hitting a ball, but you also need to be able to be aware of what your horse is doing underneath you and what their abilities are. Your mind may be able to be thinking at 40 miles an hour, but if your horse can only move at 30 miles an hour, the two of you, your timing is off. So you need your timing to be really on. So for someone who's self-aware, that's a very important thing.
What are the best horse breeds for polo?
A lot will be a breed between the quarter horse and the thoroughbred, or there'll be a local Argentine horse bred with a thoroughbred, or different kinds of mixes like that. And so the thoroughbred has a lot of speed, and then the other horses, like the quarter horses and stuff, will usually be slightly smaller and be able to stop and turn quicker and things like that. So you're putting a very fast horse and breeding it with a little bit smaller horse that's more agile.
What does the maintenance look like for a horse?
About every 6 weeks, you'll get horseshoes. A couple times a year, you get the vet to come check on the horse, give it some shots, things like that. And you can go and just ride your horse 1 or 2 times a month, but it's going to be better if you do it a little bit more frequently. It has to get fed every single day. I wouldn't recommend for most people doing the feeding themselves. Like, don't go buy a farm. Don't go think you're going to take care of your horse every single day. Let a professional do it. You buy the horse, you board it at a farm where they know how to take care of it, do the daily feeding, bring the horse out, maybe exercise it when you're not able to exercise it. So you can just go show up that one day and hop on the horse and know that your horse has been exercised and it's been taken care of.
What's the process of naming a horse?
It's just like naming your children. It's whatever you want to name them after. Certain people have certain themes of what they'll want to name them. I saw this group chat of people talking about how they were naming their horses. One person's naming them after Greek gods. Another person is naming them after, mountains. Whatever they happen to want to name their horses, they'll find their niche of how they're going to name them.
Yeah, I was looking at one. His name was Samurai. I was like, that's a pretty dope name. I like that name.
Yeah.
For someone that's seriously considering getting into the sport of polo, you have any tips or advice for them?
Just to reach out to whatever your closest polo club is and ask them if there's a way that you can try to play polo, or reach out to me to ask if there's a way that you can try it out once, and just to do it. Like, the hardest thing is just to show up there on the side of the field. Once you show up, then, you're there, you're going to have an experience. I guarantee you it's going to be an amazing experience. But yeah, I would say not to wait, but to just to jump in and try it out.
When you look back at the Boston Polo Club, what are you most proud of?
The opportunities that I gave to people. Just the number of people that came and thought they had no chance of ever being able to play polo, and or barely even ride horses. So many people that show up and they say, someday I want to play polo, but today I'm okay if I just ride a horse. And then giving them that opportunity to go from there to being able to feel competent playing polo in the future and being able to develop the friendships, the relationships, and being able to learn about horses and this entire world that they thought they never would have been able to achieve.
Let's say a viewer out there is watching and they're like, man, I really wish you asked this one question. What would that question or topic be that we didn't cover?
It would be, why was there polo there back in the day and not any polo anymore? And the Emperor's Palace in Constantinople had a polo ground on it. All the major cities of the Byzantine Empire had polo fields at those cities. Ephesus had a polo field just a stone's throw away from the theater that was the riot in the Book of Acts. And so there's all these old polo fields around there. And so it was played by all these different Christians at the time. And after the Ottoman Empire took over, they tried to suppress the cultures, these Christian cultures. And one of the ways they suppressed the Christian cultures was by banning Christians from riding horses for over 300 years.
Mark, if people are wanting to find out more about polo, what are the social media contacts, the websites where people can go to find out more?
Yeah, so you can go to the U.S. Polo Association's website, which is uspolo.org, but also definitely check out my website, my social media handle, bostonpolo.org, Boston Polo on Instagram, on Facebook. And feel free to reach out to me, even if you're not in a place where I'm at. I'm sure I know a professional polo trainer that's in your area, and I would love to hook you up. And if you want to be involved in any of my future projects, would love to hear from you.
What qualities do you look for in others, and why do those qualities matter to you when you're looking for a client or a business partner?
It's really the quality of the person. I can pick and choose the kind of people, both in terms of business partners or clients to have, and someone that's going to be a thoughtful, caring person like me. I don't want to be out there on a team with someone who's just out there all for themselves, who doesn't care about anything else. So it's really just people who really are thoughtful, caring people. And oftentimes the sport will actually open up people more to realizing how much they need their teammates. They may think, okay, I'm pretty athletic. I can go out and do all this on my own. But team sports are unique. Team sports, you can't do it all on your own. Eventually, you need your teammate to pass that ball to.
Is looking for, I guess, a good person, whether they're a client or a business partner, is really if they have the same heart and passion for the things that if that's a fair summary anyways.
Correct, yeah.
Nice. Well, Mark, this has been an incredible conversation, and thank you for coming on to today's episode of the Keyconceptspodcast. Really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, and good luck in the future.
Thank you. Well, for everyone listening, whether you came here knowing nothing about polo, or you've always been curious and felt intimidated, I hope this conversation has reminded you that growth usually lives outside of your comfort zone. So if you're interested in polo, give it a shot. Thank you for watching this episode of the Keyconceptspodcast. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Nice job.